PSN Hockey and LeagueGaming.com presents the LGAHL Game of the Week. Tonight it's going to be Game 6 and possibly Game 7 between San Jose and San Antonio. Hi everyone, TSibs with you, and J-Ro from the Ontario Reign is joining me tonight on the broadcast, and we'll talk to you and bring you this live game as it happens. And teams are getting ready in the locker room now, and we'll hopefully have a game going in just a couple of minutes. So stick around. We're going to get a look at this game tonight and talk a little bit about the starting lineups here. And J-Ro, thanks for joining us tonight. Congrats on your next round victory. Certainly you guys are pumped to get through the first round pretty quickly. Are you surprised how many 4-0 and 4-1 series victories we saw so far in the first round of the playoffs?
Yeah, actually I am. I mean, I figured there might be a few, but not as, I mean, I can't believe how fast it went. It was, right. I mean, what was everyone over in 5 games except this? So it was really fast. I'm surprised. I thought the crunch series would go a little longer with the Americans. I thought the Wolves and Moose might go 6, but Mr. Don getting no wins. I think going to push that series.
So the again, this game is about ready to get underway. Let's just quickly take a look at the starting lineups. And right now, let me get to this quickly here. Hold on a second. Starting lineups for the San Jose Barracuda: Robo, Marauding Moose, and Matt Lucci up front. Queso and Greenwood on defense. Kickapoo in net. For San Antonio, it's Coaster, Deasy, and Amador up front. Cowboy Fan and Atwood on defense, and Scape in net tonight. Interesting lineup, and we talked a little bit before, and it sounded like you felt like this was a pretty strong lineup for the Rampage.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, this is pretty much their top line, especially up front. I mean, Coaster and Dewar have been doing it all year. DZ's had a good season. I think this is going to be a lot for the Cuda to handle, but we'll see. I mean, Kickapoo, he can stand on his head and anything can happen, right? So, right. But he's going to have to, I think, or the Rampage is going to come out with this one, in my opinion.
Well, we'll show you the game shortly here. Just having a little bit of an issue with the feed. And
all right, it's not just me.
No, well, it's me, but it's I'm having a very weird issue with the feed right now, so I will get this to you as soon as I can.
No, it's not working for me either.
Okay, hopefully we'll.
I can't pull it up, or it's just not loading. It's kind of stuck.
Yeah, we'll. Yeah, it's a little odd here with the feed, but we'll try and get this for you here shortly. I'm having loads of fun with this one. It's probably all Lucci's fault if I know. It's probably all his fault. For some reason, I want to blame him for it.
I don't know if I can listen to him score and go.
No, it's not his feed, so we should be good. As you can hear so far, no game is underway. It's fun when you get issues right away in a game. Stand by, folks. I'll get this for you in a second. Did I get this right? Yeah, here we go. Okay, I think we're good now. Little issue with the orientation of the screen. Anyway, you see the play now. San Jose on the attack and a quick opportunity there, but turned aside by Scape, and now coming back the other way. Swinging with the puck, trying to get it over to Dewar, but not able to find an opportunity there. Now coming back the other way, the Rampage.
Oh, there we go. All right. All right, we're good over here. Fine.
Okay. Moose. Marauding Moose with a blast. Not an opportunity there for Robo to try and get the rebound. Now back the other way quickly is Dewar. And a good defensive play by Queso to break it up. Now Dewar gets it in front of the net. Dangerous play, but goes past any good opportunity. And now San Jose back the other way with Marauding Moose, flips it in.
That's a nice one.
We thank Queso for providing the feed tonight of this game. What do you call this? Game 4 or Game 6? I'm confused right now.
Don't even get me started on that. So.
To me, it's Game 6, but with the Game 4 lineup. So we'll just call it Game 6.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I think it's good. You know my opinion on.
Yeah. We talked about that earlier, and I wanted to talk to Brody about that tonight. Hopefully, we'll get a chance to talk to him about how that transpired. I kind of thought that was kind of odd. Good opportunity there. Rampage getting it to Robo for a wrap, but not able to connect.
Yeah, I just don't get how you can lock in lineups when EA is the problem. You know, it affects everyone's availability. I think it should just go back, and the next game should be Game 3, and then just move from there. And this would be Game 6.
It also affects the strategy. I mean, you try and put a lineup in it for a certain reason on certain games, and I disagree with his thought that it wasn't going to affect the series too much. I mean, maybe for most of them, and there's an opportunity right in front, loose puck, and Escape able to hold on to it. Yeah, for most of these series, it didn't affect how things went, but, you know, it could affect tonight's series.
Yeah, or even moving forward. I mean, you're right on that. I mean, everyone was done in 4 or 5 anyway, but it's luckily that kind of happened, because that really could change a series, and people are not going to be happy if you have to start ECUing guys because guys can't make it the next night.
Yeah, I mean, another dangerous play in the net there. Escape able to hold on to a couple of loose pucks there, just finding their way in the paint, but nobody there to slam it home for the Barracuda. Yeah, I mean, even though there were teams that got knocked out right away, I mean, and granted, it probably would have happened anyway, but you never know. I mean, with a different lineup, you don't know how it would have played out. So, little odd for that. Now back the other way. San Antonio, good quick play in front, and a nice shot and a score. Looked like Deasy right up front. Gets the goal, a good pass out in front to him. Looked like Dewar with the pass. And just that quickly, San Antonio gets the lead. Now another opportunity. A good poke check by Queso, getting the puck out of the crease. And now San Jose trying to come back the other way. And a tripping call is going to go against San Jose now. The Rampage will get a power play opportunity and a chance to expand this lead if possible. Dewar looking for a passing lane. Gets it over to Deasy, who fills his spot. Now Robo. Back to the points. Shot blocked off of Cowboy fan and fought for in the corner. And now wrap. A quick wrap by Robo, and he scores, and defense nowhere to be found on that play. San Antonio quickly up 2-0, and San Jose on a penalty kill. It's tough, but your defense have to be close to the net on that play.
Yeah, for sure. They were way too spaced out. Definitely need some help there.
San Jose not really getting anything going. I don't think we've seen them much inside the San Antonio zone a couple of times, but nothing major happening there. As you see another loose puck covered up by Escape and another face-off in the zone, but San Jose hasn't been incredibly successful on those so far.
They get the tie up and they can't get the puck.
Rampage throw one on net. Kickapoo there. Good shot there by Cowboy fan to knock. Looked like Marauding Moose off the puck. Now Moose back. Gets past the defense. Tries to get in front of the net. Puck is loose. Now taken out by Robo. He'll clear it out. Might be an icing with a second left. A quick opportunity, if maybe a chance.
We'd be surprised if Moose tries to spin it. Well, not quick enough. All right, 1 for 1 on draw calls.
information boxes located throughout the concourse.
Sibs, I'd say the Barracuda need the next one, huh?
Sure looks that way.
Not many shots. 3-2 in shots.
Another offsides here as the second period starts. San Jose moving in with the puck. Snapshot on Kickapoo. He makes the save and holds it now. Face off. Chance to get out of the zone. San Jose finally does. Now a tripping call going to be called here. San Antonio still playing with the puck and good passing. Wow, good moving of the puck there. Looked like they found Robo again on that one. And without any kind of real push by San Jose, the Rampage have taken a 3-0 lead. And San Jose is going to need to do some serious digging out at this point. Kuda trying to fight the play as much as they can, but they're just getting a little too dicey out there with their defensive play, and another penalty and another power play for the Rampage. Oh, just beautiful play by Robo. Walked right past a couple of defensemen, and that was it.
Oh, this is getting ugly, like I thought it would.
I'm sorry, that's Coaster. I keep saying Robo, and that's Coaster who has the goal. Sorry about that. San Jose just can't keep the puck in the zone. Pops back out again. They look to regroup. Coaster has the hat trick so far in this game, 2 in this period, 1 from the first period, and a 4-0 San Antonio lead as we're coming up close to the halfway mark of this game. Is it just a case of them being outmatched in this matchup, J-Ro? Or they seem to be having a hard time, not just defending, but getting anything offensively going?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, like I said, coming into this game, I thought, this is pretty much the Rampage's top line, especially up front. So I knew this would be a lot to handle. And that's why I said Kickapoo was going to have to stand on his head for him to win this one.
Another good opportunity for Coaster, and he was not able to get it past. Good save by Kick. Now another opportunity. DZ maneuvering, trying to get past Queso again, but this time a good defensive play breaks it up, and San Jose comes the other way.
Can't stay on side.
Robo offsides on the play. Nothing going right now for the Barracuda. Halfway through this game, down 4-0 and down 3-2 in this series, and they're going to need a miracle at this point.
Sibs, the Cuda are up 3-2.
Oh, I thought it was Santa. Okay, well,
no. That's why I figured that there's going to be 7.
Okay, I thought. You know what? I read it last night, and I thought They might have gotten the teams mixed up just because there were so many issues with how the games played out. But yeah, so we're in a shape for a possible Game 7.
If I had to take a guess, I'd say there's definitely going to be a Game 7.
Another opportunity there again for Coach. They're not able to connect.
Now, is there any way these teams can be tired like in real life when we play them next round, Sibs?
I don't think they've actually worked that into the algorithm just yet, but don't be surprised if they do someday.
Well, if they do, I'll take it.
It's not a bad point. I mean, we do see that kind of fatigue happening in the real playoffs in the NHL. By the time you get to the semis and the finals, you see a lot of tired players. So
let's fix the puck pickups before we start worrying about fatigue.
Good point.
There's one.
There's an opportunity. Not able to connect. Half the net open, but not enough there. And Matty Lucci on his, I lost count what number team this is now for Matt.
20.
Had an opportunity there. He played well early with Hartford, and I saw him play games played against him. You move around this much, and you're going to have problems with chemistry one way or another.
Yeah, it's tough.
Play broken up there, and now lead pass out to Lucci. Good quick snapshot, but puts it far side, and there is room to the near side, but good play by Escape to make the save there. Puck loose in front, almost by Robo. Now tries to throw it on net, and that one goes nowhere. And the second period is over, and San Antonio comes away with a 4-0 lead right now. A hat trick by Coaster so far in this game. Good play by the offense for San Antonio, but everyone playing well on defense, not giving the Barracuda much of an opportunity. The one good chance by Matty Lucci there late in the second was about it that we've seen so far, and you see 4 shots on goal for San Jose.
Yeah, there's not much room out there for them. And when they do seem to have the puck, they keep going off sides. So that's not going to be successful, to say the least.
We start the third period with San Jose winning the faceoff. Greenwood up to Robo. Good defensive play by Coaster there. Knocks it out of the zone. Robo regroups. Now Moose gets knocked off the play. It'll be a penalty called on San Antonio, and the Barracuda will go on a power play here. Get an opportunity maybe to make a dent in this. Robo finally almost has that one on the pickup, and now it's finally out of the zone. Robo tries to get it to Lucci. That one broken up by Dewar. He looks to get out of the zone, gets hit by 2 players, and still comes back with the puck in his own zone, tries to wrap it out of his own play, his own zone, but now finally flipped out as we come down to 30 seconds left to go in the San Jose power play here in the third period. Robo to Matty, but Matty winds up pushing it out of the zone. And great stand-up defense there. Almost a shot on their own goaltender, but San Jose tries to come up with it. Now out is Coaster. Lead pass for Dewar. He's got the break. Good back and forth, and it flips one in past Kickapoo. Great lead pass by Coaster on that one. I'm thinking that's the nail in the coffin there, J-Row.
Yeah, I'd say so. I think the nail was put in the coffin about the first period. Sibs, if you were Barracuda right now, would you be warming up or would you be watching this game? Probably say warming up, right?
I would think so.
question is, are they going to play right after this?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what their plan is. I mean, they've got, you know, the lineups are in right now. We see for this next game for San Jose, it's going to be Sakic, Moose again, and Rollerback. One-timer and Kofiman on defense, and Kickapoo back in the net. It'll be Dewar and Coaster again with Saucier in the center position, Full Throttle, and Buffalo Mick on defense. And then NJ's very own will be in the net for the Rampage. So, boy, two pretty good lineups there.
Yeah, that game's going to be good.
Tripping call on San Jose. San Antonio will back on the power play here as they, I would think, trying to look to close this one out pretty quickly and get on to Game 7. I suppose this would be a series that probably was the most possible for being a 7-gamer. I would have thought Chicago would have put up a better fight. Didn't work out that way. Good save there by Kickapoo off another opportunity. Back in the zone, but that's going to be icing. Deasy had a good chance there for a second, but Kickapoo's gotten a lot of work tonight. Made another save. Dewar fighting for it, looking to get a quick wrap up there. Greenwood got involved just a little bit, enough to give Kickapoo a chance to cover. Pass is just not going to the right place in this game. Halfway through the third period. Now a good opportunity in front. Marauding Moose tried to get it to Greenwood, but there'll be a penalty on San Jose on this one. I'm sorry, on San Antonio on this one, and San Jose will get the power play. May have been their best opportunity to score so far, but a tripping call stopped it. Now they get a chance to try and score on a power play here. Moose. Wrap. So easy on that wrap there, and finally the coup to get on the board.
Mistake too little, too late.
Unassisted goal by Marauding Moose.
Wow, Boston just battled all the way back, took a 5-4 lead.
Well, that's a series that's been contested hard, huh?
Crazy, yeah. Oh, that was a bad goal by Anderson.
Opportunity in front, broken up. Nice poke check by Greenwood. Off of Dewar now. San Antonio trying to get the puck out of their own zone. They do. Puck thrown back in by San Jose. It'll be an icing call. How many times? There are too many years where in the playoffs you say bad goal by Anderson.
Yeah, bad goal. It looked like Dealmaker in that.
That bad, huh?
Oh, I gotta bust his balls a little bit.
Puck loose in front. Marauding Moose was trying to get a good shot off, but too many poke checks. It slides right up to Scape, and he holds. Under 5.5 left to go in this third period. Puck is loose in front, and Moose not able to slam it home. Puck still loose, and finally, Scape closes down on that one. 12 shots total by San Antonio. You would have thought it was more the way they've been attacking offensively. San Jose still only 5 shots, got 1 in this period, and that's the goal by Marauding Moose to make it a 5-1 lead and stopping the shutout. But we've got the next game coming up, and we're going to wind up seeing Kickapoo in net again. And I always wonder a little bit about that play. I mean, it is what it is, J-Row, but when you've played a game in net and you've gotten beaten several times, not his fault, quite honestly, but he's had a rough game. It's tough to go back in net again.
Yeah, but I think, like I said, coming into it, I mean, I think he knew going into it too, probably, that he was going to have to stand on his head. And it's a totally new game, you know, totally different line for the CUDA. So that should give them confidence again, especially considering that group is beat. I think they beat them 3-2 in this series already. So
good save on a breakaway by Kickapoo. San Jose just trying to throw whoever they can up there. Now again, another quick, fast opportunity by Dewar, but a good save by Kick. Now a break going the other way for Robo. Let's see if he can do something with this. Good backhander in the net. And it's 5-2.
I think those last two saves by Kick might give him the confidence for the next game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not much defense there.
No, it's a really good point, J-Ro. I mean, he definitely made some good saves there. Shot blocked. Could have made it 5-3 right there. San Jose showing some life here in the end. We'll see how much that carries over with some of the players. Good hit there by Moose, but not able to get a shot. Now back the other way comes Coatster. And a sneaky little backhander past Kickapoo. The fourth goal for Coatster in this one. 6-2 as we come down to the last half a minute here in the game. And we will have a game 7 in this matchup. By far, probably the most entertaining one to watch so far in the playoffs.
Oh, Jesus.
Another tough defensive play. Good save by Kick to stop it.
Been like 5 breakaways in the past minute. He's getting good practice in on that.
Getting down to the final few seconds here of game 6. And San Antonio will push it to a game 7. And we'll see how quickly that game shows up here. But it will be a game 7 with these two teams. And that quickly, J-Ro, this series is going to 7 games. And these two teams certainly, match up pretty well before the series started. But we're seeing that San Jose is, got as much of a fight to deal with here in this one, as well as they played all year long. The Rampage played incredibly well towards the end of the season, and they're one of those teams who I think was peaking at the right time, and they're playing some damn good hockey right now.
Well, I guess so, considering everyone in the bracket challenge picked them to beat us. Not a single person picked us, so we'll keep being the underdog. That's fine. I have no problem with that.
So you get game 7s like this. What do you wind up telling your players in a matchup like this? You typically going to go out there with a lineup that's pretty experienced, that has had a lot of success. It's not. I guess it's not really that you have to get these guys' confidence up. It's a matter of just. I think it's more of a matter of trying to get these guys to just concentrate on the task at hand. I would think. Yeah,
I mean, we played the Rampage in the first round in 7 last year, and I played in game 7. And I'd say the most important thing is just relax. Don't try and do too much. Don't grip the controller too tight, because you don't want to make that mistake that could cost you the series. But
right.
You got to just play your game. Play the way you've been successful, what's brought you there, and you got to hope that's enough. But if you start trying to do too much, that's when shit can hit the fan, and you can start making mistakes that can really cost you.
And hopefully we'll get some stats in here shortly. But it really was a whitewashing of this one. As you mentioned, it was going to be tough for the Barracuda to take this game. Good solid lineup going against them with DZ, Coatster, and Dewar. Coatster has had a pretty damn good season, and is a damn good goal scorer. We saw him make some nice passes in this game tonight in game 6, and I think maybe that San Jose line a little overmatched for this one tonight.
Yeah, for sure. But now you get their big guns to come back. I mean, Moose gets to play out rollback and Sakic, so that should be a little more smooth, trying to work the offense and get the puck out of their zone, because the puck was in. You look at the time on attack, the Rampage were at least double. especially with the way they had the puck at the end. So, I mean, usually time on attack shows how the game's going.
It was Deasy with the first goal from San Antonio to make it 1-0, and then Coaster had the second goal in that first period. 2-0 lead after one, and then Coaster with a pair in the second period, putting up 4-0 at that point, and that was pretty much the end of it. We got goals again from Coaster late in the third period and Dewar early on. San Jose made a valiant comeback late in the third period with Marauding Moose getting a wrap and Robo with a breakaway goal to make it 5-2 at that time, but Coaster making it 6-2 the final. And again, these two teams will now battle for Game 7. Not sure when that one is going to show up live here. Hopefully we will get some word from these guys about when that might happen. But so far we're just going to ride it out here and see if we can maybe talk a little bit more about some of the other matchups that we have coming up. Let's talk a little bit before we even talk any more about this game and this series. Let's talk a little bit about how things went in the West. You know, the Roadrunners fought hard to get into the playoffs the last night of the regular season. We brought those games to you, and you know, they look like they had a pretty good team put together. You know, obviously they had some holes in their squad, and you know, not enough firepower up front, and possibly just, you know, not enough defense to take on all that you guys had. How do you feel about what you guys showed? Obviously a 4-0 sweep of that series, but how do you feel about the overall play of your team?
I thought we played well. I mean, you know, the first game, actually, the Roadrunners had it, and I think Raj made a sauce up the C-bomb with like 25 seconds left for a breakaway to tie it, and we won it in overtime. And then after that, we kind of smooth sailed. I mean, last night, I played in the game last night. I thought they played pretty good. The goalie, I guess, Peacemaker, changed his name to British or Britain something. He played really well. I mean, we put up 9 on him in game 2, and he played outstanding last night. He made some ridiculous saves. But overall, I mean, I can't complain. Like I said, everyone says that, you know, you play the Suey line against the top line. I don't know if we really have a Suey line. I don't think there's a single line that can't play against anyone. I mean, I don't think there's a single game we can't win, and I think we have the best defense overall in the AHL. So defensively, with our goalies and the way we score goals, I think we match up fine with anybody, whether it's the Rampage or the CUDA.
You have any concerns about your guys looking outside of the West a little too soon, or are they you know, gearing up for what they think is probably going to be a you know, relatively tougher game here?
Like I said, I mean, no, I don't think they're worried at all about the other series. You know, when Mikey came on your show last week and said that he thought the Rampage was the best team in our division, don't think that our guys didn't hear that. And then you go and look, and everyone picked the Rampage to beat us in this series. Let's see if, 1, if they get through, and 2, I mean, our guys see all this stuff. You know, if everyone wants to doubt us and we want to be the underdogs, even though we finished with the 3rd most points in the league, that's fine. But we got to go in hand, and one of these two teams is next in line, and we'll go from there. But no, I'm not too worried about anybody looking forward. We're just worried about the task in hand, what's right in front of us.
What do you, and then, you know, looking into the, let's look at some of the other matchups that are going to be coming up. You've got the one that pretty much everyone figured was going to wind up happening for the most part. They knew the Wild were going to get in. I expected the Wolves to put up a little bit better fight than that, but 4-1 for Manitoba, not a big surprise there. You've got two teams that are incredibly strong, and to me, I'm not even sure if it matters who came in first in the regular season. They both have solid squads up and down, and the goaltending has been tremendous for Manitoba. What are your initial thoughts about this series, and then who is, what do you think is going to be the telltale sign of whether or not, the Moose have enough to overturn Iowa and get past them?
Well, I think they got it. I mean, like you said, I think it's really, really close. I think the last 2 games, I think the Wild have won, but they've been tight games. I mean, the Moose defensively and they've let up the least amount of goals in the league by a bunch. So They play a hard defensive game, so I don't know how the Wild are going to respond. Honestly, I think the line matching, it depends on who plays who. I think that's going to play a big part into what happens in this series. Who's going to get what line? Brian Adore-Liz's line? Are they going to play Beast's line? Are they going to play Tommy's line? There's so much firepower on both sides that it's going to be fun to watch for sure. But I have no idea who's going to win that series. I think it's going to go 6 or 7. Both teams are so good. They've been so good all year. So it should be interesting to see.
We've got Syracuse beating the Rochester Americans in that series 4-1, and Toronto whitewashing the Devils. We'll talk about that on Sunday. But I picked the Devils. I kind of thought I was looking for an upset there. I thought maybe, but you know what? Toronto, the Toronto Marlies they hit a little bit of a skid. I was on that team for a while. Hit a little bit of a skid mid-season. Made a lot of moves. I think maybe a chemistry was a bit of an issue for a little while, but they've got some good players now who have played together, who are consistently playing together, and I think it's made all the difference in the world in getting a lot of offensive power. My only concern might be the defense, and it all depends on how good Fishy stands on his head in net. But the way that the Americans went down in this one, I don't think it was a big surprise, J-Ro, only because they had been struggling for a couple of weeks. And I'm a full believer in, if you're not playing well, if your team's not playing well as you're about ready to get into the playoffs, there's usually a good reason for it, and your chances are of figuring it out when you're in the playoffs are not really that good. And whatever it was for Rochester, it just didn't work out in time. And they met a good Syracuse team who really is, one of the top teams in that division. And the Crunch move on, and the Americans just faltered when it seemed like they were maybe the best team in the division.
Yeah, I totally agree. I didn't think that the Americans were going to win the series. I did, because the Crunch have been playing really well lately, so I thought the Crunch were going to come out on top. I just didn't think that it was going to be that dominant. I thought the Americans would put up a little better of a fight. But listen, it went how it went, and the Marlies are moving on, and the Crunch, are moving on, and the Americans are going home. So,
and in that matchup with Syracuse and Toronto, again, I think it might be a pretty exciting one to watch, and the Marlies, have some confidence going now. I'm not going to make a pick just yet. I need to look at these teams a little bit closer, but it looks like it's also going to be another interesting series for the division. Maybe not the one we thought it was going to be, but Toronto being there, not a shock, but Syracuse, I think is going to give them a run for their money.
Yeah, for sure. It should be interesting.
The other series, of course, the Bears blanking out the WBS Penguins 4-0, and Springfield beating the Phantoms 4-1 in that series. And, we knew Hershey was good, but the way the Pens have been playing with the amount of players that they've got, and I thought, when we talked about it on Sunday, I thought that the experience on this team was a benefit. But I've also found out in times that sometimes having veteran players who've been around for a while can be a hindrance if they're not ready to put all they can into an AHL game that really means a lot. And I think, it may have been the case where some of these vets just weren't ready to play this series, and the Pens should have given the Bears a much better time of it, and really just fell apart defensively fully.
Yeah, I definitely thought that series was going to be a lot tighter. I know Toffoli really well. I know he's a great player. I can't believe he only played one game, I think. So yeah. I'm surprised by that. I would have thought for sure he would have played 2 games in the first 4, especially if you're down in the series. You need someone like that to try and get you going. But, that was a big shock. Not a shock that the Bears advanced because they've been playing well, but I was just surprised that it was done in 4. So I thought the Pens had a good team. So that was pretty surprising.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you mentioned on the other side with the Phantoms and the Springfield Thunderbirds. We saw a lot of chirping in the box, in the shout box last week. We saw a lot of guys on the side of Lehigh Valley trying to get under the skin of Red Raider, the goaltender for Springfield. As many of you may have heard last week, we talked about him. We talked about the fact that he, that he was with Lehigh Valley, that he had a game where he rage quit, apparently, missed the next game, and then had some misfortune with Lehigh Valley, and then was traded away and wound up on this Thunderbird team. And unfortunately for the Phantoms, they wound up having to go up against him. They tried to rattle him in the shout box, and it didn't work. He played tremendously well during this series and took out his old team. And again, sometimes it's good to rattle guys who really can be off their game if you rattle them. But I'm thinking people might realize Red Raider is not a guy who's going to get off his game if you try and get under his skin and be a problem for him in his mind. He just goes out and plays.
Yeah, I mean, some guys just thrive under that. You know what I mean? Like someone like me, I love the shit talking. Bring it on, and it just brings the game to a whole new level. So people can try and chirp and try and get under people's skin, but when it backfires, you kind of look like an asshole.
And then there's a lot of it in the game, and I get it. I'm a little more old school. I just I say just go out there and play. Let them have the attitude about it. But again, I'm older, so I play a very different game than probably a lot of players in this league. But you're finding out that some of these guys are strong enough to take this and play well, and not let it get in their heads. And a good game, a good matchup for the Springfield Thunderbirds against the Hershey Bears. This also is going to be a very interesting matchup. The Hershey Bears are pretty confident. We see Bottleman a lot in the shout box talking about his team. He feels very good about them, about the talent that he and Squall have worked to put together. And, they have a right to feel good, but I think they also feel like they're being a little bit looked over in the league. I don't think a lot of people really put a lot of stock in Hershey and in that Eastern Atlantic because, it was a lot of teams just kind of floundering early on, and they found a way to not only take first place, but to also build a good team. And maybe, J-Rail, they've gone under the radar a little bit because they've been playing in that division, and maybe they're just a lot better than people realize, only because of their competition hasn't really caught up to them in that division. And now they're playing Springfield, and this is probably the best test they've had all year.
Under the radar and being overlooked? Wow, it sounds like someone else in the Western Pacific, huh? But no, I mean, I think that when they got Lacoupedon back, when he came down, I mean, I thought that was a huge, huge help for them.
Sure.
I mean, he's one of the top players. I've played with him for a long time, and he's great. So adding him with Bottle and Squall, yeah, their game has turned over big time in the past few weeks. They've been playing really, really well. That should be a good series. I mean, you got big time scorers. I mean, you got Cornex. I mean, no one can doubt his talent.
Sure.
He's one of the top players in the league. So that should be interesting. You got a lot of firepower on both sides. I mean, I really think as you move forward, there's just a lot of talent everywhere, and it's just going to be interesting to see who comes out on top and who plays well in the big situation.
And it's you hate to not pick against Springfield because of all the firepower, but it's so hard to not look past teams that have 2-3 really good offensive lines and not think that they have a good shot to win it. It depends on how strong the other team's defense is and whether or not they can really steal a game or two away. We kind of saw that last season, right? I mean, we saw a San Jose team that seemingly had 3 great lines, but if you get caught in the first game and you don't play your game the right way and defense really focuses on stopping what you do best, you can wind up stealing a game early, and then that whole snowball effect comes into play, and you know you're not, your mind isn't right for game 2, you wind up letting in a couple of bad goals, and all of a sudden you find yourself down 2-0, and I think that's very, no matter how good a team's front line is of their forwards, if they don't get off to a good start and a second or third line on the other team steals one, that it happens that quickly in these 7-game series. We've seen it several times in the past couple of seasons where teams probably should have won easily in their series and then wind up losing because they let themselves get rattled and get played the first game or two and didn't adjust. I think is also a big part of it.
Yeah, well, exactly. Like you said, last season with the CUDA, everyone thought they would just pretty much roll to the finals. But you have that one game where, because when you look at this, when you're line matching, especially when you're the higher seed, you look at the games that you say, well, we should win this based on what the line is thrown out, and we might lose this one, based on the line matching. And if one of those games goes the wrong way for you, it could totally screw you up and make things nervous and panic, and shit can hit the fan real quick. And that's when you see bigger upsets happen, when that 1 or 2 games that go the opposite direction that you expect them to can completely change the series.
Well, hopefully we're 15 minutes away or even less away from the game. We don't have any feed of anything going on, so we're trying to find out if there's going to be any kind of feed coming from somewhere. I haven't heard back from Robo yet, so I don't know if San Jose's got something going. Hopefully we'll have something to show you, and we'll be here to call the game when it happens. But
Jeez, I hope somebody's streaming.
Yeah. We try and make sure that everybody gets someone streaming in these games, but it doesn't always happen the way it should in this league. But we're going to hopefully bring you Game 7 here. Go Hawks. Love his comment. NBCSN is going to be streaming. Go Hawks. Nobody loves you, but I do. I hope you remember that.
Hey, I don't have any problems with Go Hawks. So I've never played with Go Hawks, which is crazy because we were on the same team all last season, and we didn't play one game together. But I've never had a problem with him, so you'll never get a complaint out of me. I actually think it's kind of funny.
Yeah. Well, he has his moments, and if you've ever been in a party with him, he definitely enjoys calling out wherever he plays about to go. So it's fun to have him. It's fun to have him at a party. It's funny. We talked in season 5 about that team, about the Moose, and just a band of misfits who were really good hockey players, and there were so many problems in the locker room with guys getting along with each other. 1 or 2 players stopped playing at the end of the playoffs completely, for the most part. I assume you don't have that kind of issue. Talk a little bit about what your team's been like all year, and how you guys have been able to get along, and what's been your take on the way everybody communicates on your team.
Hold on, you broke up there. You were saying how is our team chemistry is in like communicating with one another?
Yeah, exactly.
It's been good. I mean, we haven't had any problems with it. I mean, we'll joke around and stuff in the Discord with each other. I know my line of Boone, Hydrate, Patty, and John Bond like to have our fun with Deal. Mm-hmm. But no, it's good. I think having that camaraderie together, no one complains with each other. No one, I mean, if we do lose a game, no one gets on each other. It's been really smooth. I mean, partially I think that has to do with how successful we've been. You know what I mean? There's not really much to complain about when you finish with 122 points. But
right.
For the most part, I mean, everyone, we get our few Frenchies in there. It's pretty fun trying to have our conversations with Toasty and Leet here to here. But no, it's been good. It's been fun. I've had a lot of fun this season, so I can't really complain. And I've had no problems. I mean, running the team, me, C-Bomb, and Calvinator, it's been pretty smooth. No assholes. And I don't expect that to change.
That's always a good thing. Let's talk a little bit about the lineup that's going for this game, and just want to make sure that we have the most recent lineup here. We talked about.
I got to do it on my phone because for some reason when I go on the internet, this gets all messed up.
Not a problem. We will show that to you here on the screen, hopefully, if I can bring that up here.
I got that
as well. Yeah, it's a little bit off there, but anyway, I'll show it to you here. Your lineup for San Jose and San Antonio for the game coming up. You see the Barracuda with Tickle, Mysakic, Marauding Moose, and Rollerback Woods up front. One-timer and Coffeeman on defense. Kickapoo back in net again. These are the full season-long stats that you're seeing for the team, not the playoff stats. So, obviously a little concerning about what you're seeing on the defense, but and the defensive numbers and plus minus on San Jose. But come game time, we'll see how that works out. San Antonio on the other side, still with Imadur and Coaster playing left and right side with Saucier in the center position now in this game. You see his 59 points, 23 goals, 36 assists. So a center who certainly has put up the right kind of numbers that you want to see from a center. And NJ's very own in net for San Antonio. And I like both these goaltenders, but we've seen NJ lately play some really, really good games of late. He's been incredibly solid. You see his 27-10 record, under 2 goals against, and 83.6 save percentage. He's been incredibly solid. I would give San Antonio the edge in goaltending in this one. I think that's almost a given, and I think defense as well might be on San Antonio's side. San Jose, as you mentioned with Sakic and Rolla, they're going to have to work with Moose and really work to try and move the puck, maybe dump it in, maybe take turns of who's going to try and bring the puck in. But if last game is any judgment, and we're not sure if it's going to wind up the same way, San Antonio is going to really stand you up there, and they're not going to make it easy for you to get in the zone. And I think this Barracuda team better find a way to be able to do that with this defense and goaltending on the side of the Rampage. The Barracuda need some way to be able to get that puck in the zone on a consistent basis.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think offensively they're pretty even. I would give the defensive edge to the Rampage. And I guess, I don't know, man. I'll never doubt my boy Kickapoo. I'm friends with both of them, so I don't know. It's actually been pretty crazy. I mean, I think our division the whole year, goaltending-wise, has been insane. I mean, well, with you, the Stars now, I mean, our 2 goalies, Kick, Jersey, and even though they didn't make the playoffs, I mean, Bobata was literally standing on his head for the goals that gave them that run into the playoffs. So I think all the goalies have been good. I would wash that. I don't know. I think it's going to be who gets the better breaks, to be honest. I think this is going to be a really even game. Moose may need to play a little deeper, to take away that cross crease. But we'll see. It's going to be tight. It should be a good game. Let's put it that way. I mean, much better than the last one, I'd say.
I think you have to. I think San Jose tried to play offensively in the same style that San Antonio was playing, and it early on you could see it was going to be tough for San Jose to be able to stop them offensively, and I think they needed to collapse back a little more and try and keep the scoring down and take their opportunities when they could come. I just think when you can see you're getting overpowered right away by the other forward line, you as that forward line, especially the center, probably need to collapse back a little more, help the goaltender out a little more, and then when you get a chance, maybe spring out a winger with a quick pass here and there. And that just never really happened in the last game, and they were playing catch up from a 4-0 deficit right away.
Yeah, I mean, well, my opinion, at least in the video game, it's a little different than real life. When the team plays a trap, in real life you dump it and the wingers can go get it. If you have good defensemen in the video game, that puck sticks right to their stick and they break out the other way.
Right.
So I think in order to break that in this game is you need wingers to be able to carry the puck in, and they have to be good puck handlers. I mean, that's how the offense will start. And you saw that in the last game with Dewar and Codester, we being able to break into the zone and set up, whereas the Cuda were not.
Right.
And that's why I feel like they got no time of possession, and San Antonio controlled the whole entire game. Hopefully, looking at it now with some of the guys watching the game on the CUDA and Moose playing in the game, that they'll tighten up a little bit and not allow that, play the blue line, and maybe they won't be able to squeeze in as easily. But if they don't, it's going to be a long game.
Well, we're not sure we're going to have a game to show you. We'll see. We're going to have to see if someone's streaming. I don't think anyone on San Jose is going to be streaming. We'll have to see if anyone on San Antonio will put up a stream. We don't know right now for sure. So if that doesn't happen, then we will we'll sign off and try and find out how it went like the rest of you. But we'll give it a few minutes here and see what happens. See if anyone kicks in with a live feed, and we get a chance to maybe bring you something here. But for the meantime, we're gonna stick around and see if anything crops up. Again, this series now tied at 3 apiece, San Jose and San Antonio. They're are fighting for the chance to take on the Ontario Reign. We have J-Ro with us here, who is kind enough to join the broadcast tonight and talk a little bit about his team, what's been going on, and about the rest of the teams. We kind of went over what we've seen so far in the playoffs. And, I don't remember ever seeing a season where we've had 4 teams not win a game in the first round, and then 3 others who win just 1 game. I don't know. It's funny. Maybe you could say that it makes sense in the East. Maybe there's such a disparity of talent between top team and third and fourth place team that you could say, well, I understand that because there's one really good team and the rest are not that great. But we also saw 3 series like that in the West as well. And I don't know if that's because of matchups. I don't know if it's because of all the issues that happened the second night on Monday night with game 3 and then no game 4. I don't know how much that might have affected players, but let's talk a little bit about that. How much do you think of what happened Monday night with the servers, with game 4 having to be postponed? How much do you think that might have thrown some of these teams off a little bit?
Well, I think it all depends on when that game was made up. If that game was made up at 8:30 yesterday, I think it makes a big difference because just a prime example, just in our series,
right?
Our game 4 game was never played because our guys, that line, we had too many guys that could not play at 8:30.
Right.
So that game was scheduled for 11:30. So because of that, my line played technically game 5, and that's what ended it. So I think it all comes down to, because off the top of my head, and I really haven't looked how many teams played at 8:30, but if they played at 8:30, they might have been stuck in that game, and you had to roll with it. You know what I mean? If they played the 9:30 game and then something was rescheduled like this series is for tonight, it totally could have changed things. But I think that's what it all matters, is when that game was rescheduled for. Well, I can just speak on our behalf that game ended up not mattering because that line never played.
Yeah, look, if I'm looking at last night's games, it looks like there was only 2 8:30 games. And the Marlies won theirs 5-2, and Syracuse winning theirs 1-0. A couple of 9 o'clock games. Even 9 o'clock might throw off a few of these players just because they may not have been, considering that was going to happen for that night, and certainly could mess up your schedule.
Well, actually, yeah, it's good. Actually, that's a good point because technically, if any of those guys are West Coast guys, say they all the way out in Cali or something along to that 10:30 game is a 7:30 game, and if that's moved to 8:30, that becomes a 5:30 game.
Yeah.
So that can totally throw people off. You know what I mean?
Even a 6 o'clock West Coast game could be a problem from some guys getting home in time. I think even that half an hour to 9:30 or 6:30 their time could make the difference as well. So. It's that, I don't know if you can really point to it being that big of a deal, but it makes you wonder that, when you have a plan and guys know when they're going to play and they're focusing on that, when things have to get shuffled around, I think we see that in the regular season, how that screws up a team. I can't imagine it doesn't screw up a team in the playoffs. It has to affect you somehow.
Yeah, especially if that's the line that you're forced to play, you know what I mean? So that line, if you're doing it, actually, I don't even know. Maybe you know the rule on it. But if you know how you have to play, everyone has to play in the first 4 games. Well, since technically that's game 4, can somebody else play a second game before they do? If game 5's played before game 4, or does that line have to play? You know what I'm saying? In game 5. So that could matter too. You know, I mean, they could have been screwed because they played 2 that maybe their top line twice already, and that third line has to play, and they got forced into it, and maybe they had the ECU. I don't know, but I don't know how that works. Where can someone play again because technically it's game 5, and it's whenever that game 4 game is rescheduled, or I don't know how it works.
Yeah, I mean, I took it as game 4 is locked in for game 4 was locked in with game 4, and it was something that Brody did go over where he said, you can sub in one sub, right, and still use ECU. So he was treating it as you were down to game time with a roster lock for that game. So there's no moving it around, and you treat the other games like you would on that day, I suppose. So, I mean, in a way, it makes sure that you don't have to worry about what you're going to do for that game because it's it's locked in. It is what it is. Come that night when the game was going to be played, it was going to be locked in anyway. So, I understand why he did what he did. I don't know. I hope it was clear enough to everybody. I didn't think it was all that complicated, but perhaps it was an issue where maybe some teams really didn't know how to work with that and got confused by it. But
I don't think it's that it's very complicated. I just disagree with it possibly based on availability. I would think that, like you said, that game should just be moved. Every game should be moved back, and just like you do in every other series, that becomes game 4. And like yesterday should have been game 4, and the rosters have to be in by 7 o'clock. And you just move from there. And if that is the game where your third line has to play, well then tough shit. If you don't have the guys to play, then you ECU. But I don't think guys should get screwed because EA servers went down.
Right.
You know what I mean? That was my only opinion on it. Like I said, it didn't, like we said earlier, it didn't really affect much, I don't think, because of how lopsided all the series were for the most part. But I mean, like this series, prime example. This series wouldn't have been 3-1. This series would have been 3-2 because this game would have been played Tuesday night.
Right.
And odds are that the Rampage would have won Tuesday night. So it does change things around, but this series went longer, so it didn't make a big difference.
Right.
But so that's just my opinion on it. Not that my opinion matters, but that's just what I think.
Well, we're not seeing any stream yet. They haven't even registered the final score for the last game, so I'm not sure what the problem was there. We didn't have any lag outs or any restarts, so perhaps the system didn't pick up the final on that one. But we'll give it another couple of minutes. If we don't get a game here or get a stream to show up for this, then we'll sign off and get going. Just to kind of go over a little bit with the West, do you have any? Well, I don't want to put you out there because it may, you don't want to piss off a team, but I'll let you handle it the way you want to. Do you have any preference on who you'd rather see, San Jose or San Antonio? Is there somebody that you match up better against, you think?
Me personally, it's hard to say. I mean, actually, well, I've lost twice to the CUDA this year. One was a 1-0 loss, which was kind of could have went anyway, and then the other one was just kind of ugly defensively. Both teams are good, but honestly, I really don't care. I actually have not played personally the Rampage once this year. Okay. So, and it just so happens not that I'm trying to avoid them. I can give 2 shits about that. It's just how availability goes with the scheduling,
Right.
So, I haven't played them. So personally, I mean, I've watched a little bit when we've played them. I think we've beaten them. They've beaten us. It's kind of gone back and forth, but I have no preference. I mean, I know Kickapoo wants a shot at us because he was our goalie last year. So he claims he knows how we play, but we'll see if he gets that opportunity.
All right, folks. Well, I'll tell you what. I would love to have seen Game 7. I don't see a stream. I don't see anyone has started anything up. So I think we will we'll sign off here. And unfortunately, nobody wants to stream this game. And it's I understand everyone has concerns that something's going to go wrong if they're streaming. But this is what kind of makes the game fun when people stream. We can watch the game live. We can call the game. And we don't have a Game 7 to show you, and that's kind of sad. So I apologize for that, folks. But I thank J-Ro for coming in and helping us out tonight. It was fun calling a game. Hopefully we'll get to, hopefully for your team and you don't get to call too many more. You don't have, get to call too many more games because you'll be playing in them. But if you catch another sweep, maybe we'll get you on for some other games next week, and we can talk some more about your matchups and what you think your team's going to do. Hey, best of luck the rest of the way, and I'm sure we'll talk soon again, my friend.
All right, thanks, Sibs. Thanks for having me on.
All right, folks, you've been watching AHL PSN Live. Look in. My thanks to J-Ro for tuning in. And unfortunately, we have no other game to show you tonight, so best of luck to the Rampage and to the Barracuda. Hopefully their Game 7 goes well. But for now, we're going to sign off. You've been watching PSN Hockey on LeagueGaming.com and the YouTube channel. For J-Ro, this is TSibs saying so long, and we will talk to you on Friday night when we do the live All-Star Game Draft Show. Tune in for that, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll go on live with that, and the All-Star teams will be picked by the captains. So tune in for that. Talk to you later, folks. Have a good night.